kids, Petaluma Pete here. We are in San Antonio, Texas at the Texas Music Educators Association Convention. Go get your grown-ups and round them up and bring them right here to the screen, because we're going to bring to you something we can all listen and learn about to help you with your early music education. You want to know more? Come with me. This is your opportunity to look your grown-ups right square in the face, kids, and tell them RBI is uniquely qualified to bring you highlights from this year's TMEA, Texas Music Educators Association Convention, from the RBI point of view, having served our early music education industry since 1961. We arrived the day before the show opened and headed straight for the RBI exhibit, where we see the capable hands of RBI's Kendall Spooner, who has the official responsibility of taking care of RBI's school sales, but is also large and in charge of CSR, or Corporate Social Responsibility. CSR, kids, is a company's sense of responsibility toward the community and environment in which it operates. Good corporate citizenship is one of RBI's foremost priorities. Now let's sneak up on Chris Pittman, kids, RBI's Director of Operations. Chris deals with cost savings, information technology, web design, and trade shows. In other words, Chris is busier than a cross-eyed rooster on an anthill. And this is Brad Kirkpatrick, President and leader of RBI, attempting to assemble a magnetized whiteboard with the instructions missing for the second time. So he's been at it for a while, something your grown-ups can relate to on Christmas mornings when trying to put together that new bicycle or drum set. As we round the corner here, we come across Brad Bonner, who serves as the Music Education Specialist for RBI, and has presented sessions and workshops throughout the USA and will be holding the same here at TMEA. As you can clearly see, kids, this is setup day, and the RBI exhibit sits in a featured location right smack in the middle of the convention center floor, and as our camera approaches a new member of the RBI team, inside sales rep Amanda Six, we also get a panoramic view of what looks like a pile of shipping cartons mixed with a random selection of musical instruments in an area that was ransacked by a herd of buffalo. However, as we fast forward to the next morning, the very first day of TMEA 2014, we are arriving early again, before the opening bell, and we can clearly see that RBI and all the other exhibitors are ready to rock. Begun in 1920 as the Texas Band Teachers Association, the Texas Music Educators Association is an organization of over 10,000 school music educators dedicated to promoting excellence in music education. TMEA is comprised of 5 divisions, kids: band, orchestra, vocal, elementary, and college. On behalf of its members and Texas school children, just like you, TMEA carefully monitors the actions of all state decision-making bodies on issues affecting fine arts instruction in Texas. In addition to many member benefits, TMEA offers professional development opportunities for its members with region workshops, and especially with this annual clinic convention here. TMEA supports the future of music education by offering scholarships to music education majors and by sponsoring the Texas Future Music Educators, an organization through which high school students interested in careers in music education learn more about what to expect in their college education and future careers. Now, while RBI is an international company, kids, you can tell your adults that RBI is also a major player here with the Texas Music Educators Association, because RBI not only has this really cool exhibit where they display all sorts of popular early music education tools, instruments, teaching and learning programs, instruction books and CDs, and their world-famous boomwhackers, they also sponsor some of the best early music education clinics in the world, like those presented by Kristen Puglisi and her NoteNax system. NoteNax promotes the enjoyment and understanding of music through color, touch, and pattern, making it accessible to all types of learners. NoteNax believes in enriching children's lives through the language of making music, which in turn supports learning goals in math, science, and reading, while increasing self-confidence and creativity. Your grown-ups need to know the NoteNax method was created to support these goals, kids. So for crying out loud, tell them when NoteNax are used in the classroom, children get excited about creating and performing their own music. Teachers have a flexible tool to help all types of learners create music in a natural, collaborative way. And parents appreciate the benefits of hands-on music education for their children. So there. Now let's leave the RBI exhibit for the time being, kids, and boogie on down, or should I say up, the escalator to the second floor and make the long walk to the other side of the San Antonio Convention Center and stop long enough to see the grant recipients bulletin board, and then continue on down the hallways there as we roll right into the big clinic room, where Brad Bonner is holding court for hundreds of educators by demonstrating the teaching and learning power of his incredible program. And when we say RBI sponsored these clinics, kids, we're not kidding, because here you see a whole gaggle of boom whackers and kids play handbells provided by RBI just sitting there, waiting on the good people who arrive for Brad's clinic to pick one up and bring it with them to their seats so they can actively participate while Brad leads them in various early music education exercises with the help of his animated videos. 4. And with the help of fun and colorful props, like this cool parachute-looking piece of material here that everybody can dance around, and with the assistance of these beautiful scarves and all sorts of other interesting out-of-the-box items to help make learning fun for the audience and for children of all ages. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, or should I say back at the RBI exhibit, kids, the place was rocking with parents and teachers and students and more kids of all ages trying out the seemingly endless collection of musical instruments and early music education tools on display. There were Alos recorders, the best in the West, along with Bamboom branded bamboo percussion instruments under this bamboo shelf display. And there were kettle drums being played by young leaders of tomorrow, and there were colorful bell sets with happy kids just banging away with big smiles. And there were square hand drums that you actually sit on to play, and the grown-ups were everywhere, patiently waiting their turn to purchase their favorite instruments and bring some of these great early music education tools home for you. And before we knew it, it was time to head out of the exhibit again, kids, and back to that same big clinic room we saw before, this time to witness an amazing improvisation workshop from Mary Knish, founder of Rhythmic Connections. On the way back to the big clinic room, we realized how the convention attendee count had more than doubled since our first venture out to the earlier Brad Bonner workshop, and it was only about 2 o'clock in the afternoon on the first day of this 4-day event. The place was crawling with grown-ups. The first thing we noticed upon arriving back at the big clinic room was the massive amount of additional instruments that RBI brought to the party, so the hundreds of participants could come right up to the stage where the instruments were laid out and ready for attendees to pick one up or two of them so they could interactively participate with Mary, who first introduced everyone to a few calming breathing techniques, and then moved on to using the body as a rhythm instrument, and then transitioning into chants. After that, she took everyone on a fascinating exploratory trip through the various rhythms and note structures that come from faraway places in the world, like Africa, Arabia, India, Bali, and Japan. Members of the audience were invited up to learn how to improvise using these wonderful patterns, and Mary also introduced everyone to the idea of using common household items as musical instruments, because this sort of activity can push the music student and the teacher to create new sounds and new ideas outside the limits of the instruments that they are used to playing.
I know, both figure, right?
After this, Mary wrapped it up by bringing it all back home with the exploration of the uniquely American roots, rhythm, and chord structures called the blues, catching Petaluma Pete completely by surprise by asking him to play along on what I guess is now the official San Antonio Convention Center honky-tonk piano. Meanwhile, back at the ranch again, the action at the RBI exhibit had reached a fever pitch, and the first day was deemed a complete success for everyone involved, including TMEA, who did a great job facilitating this important event and keeping everything running as smooth as a southern drawl. At the end of the day, kids, it all adds up to your well-being, your health, your education, and your happiness. So please tell your grown-ups, if they don't already know, how years of scientific studies have shown that active participation in making music in the classroom gives you self-confidence, kids. You also learn about tolerance and teamwork, along with acceptance of other ideas. And it also helps make for better grades in science and math and reading. Learning to play a musical instrument is a gift that will stay with you for the rest of your life, and a gift that can make others happy as well, including your grown-ups. Well, that about wraps it up, kids, but before we go, please remember to be nice to everyone, listen to your teachers, and eat more veggies. Oh, and get plenty of sleep.